Welcome. This is David Boles, Human Meme. Today's topic, Pete and repeat. We, as human beings with feelings and emotions and all that, enjoy the familiar. We like predictability. We enjoy repetition. The child in us who won't go to bed until a favorite story is read over and over and over again is one lasting cudgel against modernism that the mortal mind cannot shake, even in adulthood. But we also know we must renew. We must not repeat the mistakes of the past. We must always be pressed forward in time and not tumble back into amber. And so I am reminded of an old children's riddle. It helps to tell the riddle when the one answering the riddle is an actual child, and so here I am. And so it all works a little something like this. Pete and Repeat sat on a fence. Pete fell off, and who was left? Repeat. Pete and Repeat sat on a fence. Pete fell off, and who was left? Repeat. Pete and Repeat sat on a fence. Pete fell off, and who was left? Repeat. Pete and Repeat sat on a fence. Pete fell off, and who was left? Repeat. Pete sat on a fence. Pete fell off, and who was left? Repeat. Repeat sat on a fence. Okay, you get the idea. And with a young child saying the word repeat all the time, that little joke, riddle thing goes back and forth, on and on for hours. And so why are we attracted to repetition? Why is the repeat so favorable? Why do we prefer the known to the mysterious? In the theater, the live theater, we have to repeat productions because, say, Marlon Brando, starring live on Broadway in A Streetcar Named Desire, is no longer alive and his show is not running. And that fact is the charm, beauty, and the tragedy of the live theater. You watch a live theatrical production once, and right away, or that fleeting moment is gone forever. And so the live theater tries to repeat that initial magic, that Brando elegance, with revivals and community theater productions and world tours and so on. But it's never the same. It's never the same because repetition is the bit and the bite of the live theater. And I'm not really much of a fan of it. But how else would one know the Shakespeare plays or the Greek dramas if not for the resurrection and the repetition of the script into an all-new live performance? And we, as human animals, often try to play the same moment twice. But there can only be one revolution. There may only be a history-making moment one time. And when we try to recreate those tragedies and victories, we always fail, because the unknown end is no longer at stake. We already know the outcome. And yet we are comforted by the sameness of the experience. So now we know the live theater requires repetition and revival. But does a movie? Why remake any movie? Does remaking something make the original better in comparison? Do we really need 10 Batman origin movies? Must we remake Psycho shot for shot just because we can? And the little brother to the movie remake is the movie sequel. And nobody needs 7 parts to a movie's franchise. We are drowning in aesthetic sameness. And so what about television? We are now absolutely and forever out of the golden age of television, and we are in the miry tar, in the abundance of the TV show revival. Revile, more likely, really, is now with us in Aces. Here's a partial list of past American television shows that are now being restarted after they completed their original run on television. Will and Grace, The Office, Mad About You, Charmed, Magnum P.I., Cagney and Lacey, The Greatest American Hero, Roseanne, American Idol, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Fuller House, and on and on and on. I mean, ugh, what is wrong with these people? Do we really need any more Roseanne episodes? It was a horrible show when it was on during its first run. Who needs more of the talentless Roseanne and more of that hateful show? It's a waste of time and memory and money. And if the idea of more Roseanne horrifies you, just wait until computers and AI, artificial intelligence, get even better than they already are. We'll be resurrecting Lucille Ball from the grave to remake Revile, I Love Lucy all over again. And we'll put Jack Parr back on The Tonight Show where he belongs and keep him there beyond his better wishes and our worse enjoyment. Yes, okay, we want for nostalgia. We live to remember when. And all of that points to a dire clinging to the loss of our humanity. We want to live back then, not now, not into the forward that we don't recognize. Our future is too uncertain. We want the comfort of the unchanged past. And it doesn't seem to matter that the past, our past, no longer exists. We'll just recreate it in our minds and in our television shows, and with our computers and our friends and our catechisms. Nothing will deny us the comfort of our childhood. We want what we want, and we want it right now. And that, my friend, the echoing of history, is the death of us. We only want the retold and the recycled. There's no future in the undiscovered. We only want what we already know. We only divine what has been told to us, not what we need to learn on our own. And there we stand, here we are, alone and naked in the world, longing for a return to childhood, so we never have to really grow up and make a decision. We want to be acted upon, not acted within. And yet the only way to get back there, back within us, is to move over there, up there, across the room, down the street, beyond the horizon and into the heavens. Because it is always the future that centers us, and it is the future that brings us back around to close the circle of longing that infatuates us into blindness and keeps us longing and buries us in lonesomeness. And it isn't quite enough to say everything will be okay, because we already know the answer to us is a secret within us that we discovered long ago. Each new day is painful and uncertain, and only the yellowing wallpaper of our childhood really, truly understands who we were born to be. and we are only a skipping vinyl record, a repetitive momentum. We are a spinning circle looking for a hand to intervene, to stop time, and to reverse memory into aging. And then we are where we can finally be alone with our thoughts, to dissolve back into the ether of ourselves, to replay all our best invented moments over and over again in the luxurious amber of our meandering minds. A return to the cradle, a recall to the love of a mother's arms. Pete and repeat sat on a fence. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.